Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I'm your host, Jim Wiggins. So glad to have you on board. And man, it's great to be back in Illinois and back at the layout. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode where I was in my home of New Hampshire and I got to hang out with my club president, John Miner, and check out some new wood chip hoppers on his layout. Now, before we get started, if you like the type of content that you see delivered on a weekly basis, please do us a favor. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into our channel, and comment. I do love interacting with you guys. With the exception of maybe talking to you at shows, that's the next best thing. So please feel free to comment. I always like to hear feedback from our fans. Well, let's see who's joining us tonight on Train Tuesday. I see Michael is here, Michael Pfizer Jr. If you remember, that is the gentleman that gave us some great pictures of the Quaker State tank train cars. I see DG Model Works is in the house. He's been a busy guy lately. Ronald is here, NSWLE. BN Green 1970. Mr. Steve Goring from Southern Illinois is here. Jason True from the Truesville Southern. I think I'm going to have some cars for your layout. Kyle is here, Jeffrey's here, Ronald, John, and 3DJ Scotty has also joined the chat. So thanks for joining us. This is it's great to be back, and we're going to be talking a little bit today about the Athearn Genesis 20k tank cars. You can see one just right above my name there, sitting there in the industrial yard. So we're going to be talking about these tonight. Now, for you guys that are modeling the 1970s, these are going to fit right in your wheelhouse. We do have one, though, that does fit in the 1990s. And all of these cars, they are available right now, and they are available 3 road numbers per road. So you're going to want to go ahead and get out there if you didn't pre-order these. Now, if you pre-ordered these, well, like me, you're probably enjoying them. If you didn't, you might be in for a hunt, because keep in mind, we've really trimmed down our pre-orders. In the past, Athearn used to order a little bit above pre-orders. We're not doing it anymore. We've tightened that up. We're only ordering what dealers have pre-ordered, which means you have to talk to your Athearn dealer and pre-order. But before we get started, let's do one more round of shout outs and let's see who's joining us. I have comments just directly below me. I see Icon sees Mr. No is here. Ronald, Kyle, Dan Leduc is here. Chris Walks, Canadian Locomotive Logistics is here. And Rodney is busy tonight. Charles is here. Nice to see you, Charles. John Terry is here. And many, many more. We got about 84 joining us on the live stream. If you're catching us later after the live stream on our YouTube channel, like I said, do us a favor, like and subscribe. We really do enjoy the amount of subscribers we've gotten in just the past 6 months. So let's go ahead and get started with these Athearn Genesis 20k tank cars. So we introduced these back in January of 2024. And as you can see, for each road name that's listed here in the original PDF, we've got 3 different road numbers. So you can build these out pretty good, especially if you've got some type of industry that's going to take these types of cars. And we're going to talk about that here in a moment. Now, if you like, you can also look into the description below. I've placed links for both the PDF as well as links to go direct to Athearn.com. If you really have to, you can order these through Athearn.com. However, we prefer you order them through your dealer. Your dealer's going to have a much better price on these. We tend to sell retail since we are supporting the dealer, but we get it. Sometimes you don't have a preferred dealer. Maybe you just want the convenience of ordering it direct. We can probably help you out there. So let's get started with the first car of the night. And this is a GATX white car. This is a 1974 car. Now, what's cool about these, if you look carefully, you'll see that these cars are lettered for carbon tetrachloride. Now, that's a mouthful, but these were formerly widely used in fire extinguishers, and it was also a precursor to refrigerants. However, in the years since, they've kind of gone away from that. Another thing that they used to use these for was a cleaning agent. Now, again, these have been phased out largely because of the environmental and safety concerns. And interesting point, exposure to high concentrations of carbon tetrachloride can affect the central nervous system. So something you definitely don't want to fool around with. You'll notice it's got the placards on there. And a prolonged exposure to this chemical in real life can be, well, fatal. So where would this car be used? Well, if you're modeling the 1970s, anything that would require some kind of refrigerant would probably be one of the most likely areas in which this car could be spotted. Now you can see on your screen, we have the 3 different road numbers there listed. You can also see the one that is shown, 44030, right there in all of its glory. Again, 1974 era car. So if you're modeling the 1970s into the 1980s, this is probably a good fit for your layout. Now here's the one 1990s era car that we have. And this one's a really cool car. This one is lettered for hydraulic acid. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Hydraulic acid is used for many small-scale applications, such as leather processing. Now keep in mind, as I'm listing these, think about the industries on your layout and see if any of these are a good fit. Leather processing, household cleaning, as well as building construction. Now, oil production may be stimulated by injection hydrochloric acid into the rock formation of an oil well. This is pretty interesting. It dissolves a portion of the rock and it creates a large porous structure. Oil well acidizing is a common process in the North Sea oil production industry. Now, many chemical reactions involving hydrochloric acid are applied to the production of food and food ingredients, as well as food additives. Now, typical products include aspartame. If you've had many soft drinks, aspartame is also used in that. Fructose, citric acid, lysine, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, and also as a food enhancer. So you could technically use this on a food industry if you like. There's some other things that you could use these for. This is a 1990s era car. There's 3 different cars available. You can see the one that's on your screen matches the road number. That is number 1177. And again, if you look closely, you can see that that has the appropriate placard. We're going to go back to 1972 with Relco Tank Line. Now, Relco Tank Line was filed as a domestic corporation in the state of Nevada back on Friday, May 19th, 1972. It's a refinement industry, and this car is brand new. So if you're modeling 1972, this is a great addition. Now, keep in mind, in 1972, a lot of the older tank cars were still out there, so you can mix and match with these. This is a pretty modern car. There have been some changes through the years, but by 1970 standards, this was a modern car. So it'll actually give you a little bit of variety in your fleet. And again, 3 different road numbers are available for this car, including the one here shown, which is 2222. Now, the next 2, we're going to stay in the 70s. We've got PPG Industries. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to try to watch the comments. The comments are coming in on the bottom. But I want to know if you know what PPG stands for. It's a specific name, specific location. And of course, we all, if we're car guys or glass guys, we know what PPG is. But let's see who knows what PPG stands for. I'm looking at the comments right now. Nobody's typing yet. I'm giving you enough time to Wikipedia it. All right, I'm going to go 5, 4. There we go. Alco Steam to the rescue. Pittsburgh Plate Glass. That is correct. So PPG, or Pittsburgh Plate Glass Incorporated, is an American Fortune 500 company and a global supplier of paints, coatings, and specialty materials, with headquarters in Pittsburgh, of course, Pennsylvania. PPG operates in more than 70 countries around the globe, and by revenue, it is the 2nd largest company in the world in its class, right behind Sherwin-Williams. So again, this is going to be carrying some type of coating or paint or some type of material of that nature. So if you have maybe an auto plant, maybe you've got something that requires some of these types of chemicals or coatings, this is the perfect set of cars to add to your layout. Again, you're going to see that we've got 3 different road numbers there, including 10854, which is pictured here on your screen. And again, 1972, so you can run this into the 1980s pretty comfortably, but if you're sticking in the 1970s, it's ready to go. And last but not least, you have GATX de Mexico. Now, of course, this is an oil type refinement type car. This is a GATX car, and we're offering this as well in 3 different road numbers, including the one shown, which is 43955. Now, these, again, 1970s era cars. So if you're modeling the 1970s and you want a little bit of variety in your tank car fleet, these are perfect to add. Whether you've got some industries that could use these types of cars, or you just simply want to add them to your roster, we won't judge. All right, so let's get to the features of these cars. These are Athearn Genesis cars, so they're going to have some great features. Now, all models are representative of the prototype paint schemes. They are Genesis, so they're based on actual cars. You'll also notice, too, that you have the double shelf couplers, which are standard with these types of cars. They're painted and printed in the most realistic decoration as possible. This is all, again, based on the actual prototype. These cars have body-mounted McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers. Again, the double shelf couplers as per the prototype. These are going to include either 70 or 100 roller ton bearing trucks, and they do have the animated bearing caps. So that means the bearing caps actually spin. If you've got a small layout like mine, it's just a neat little feature to see while you're doing some operations. And of course, the machine metal wheels have the RP25 contour. That means they're going to operate just fine on anything from code 100, code 83, or in my case, code 70. They're not a problem. And then minimum radius on these. They're not real long cars. So if you have a small layout like mine with an 18-inch radius, they have no problem navigating that curve. If you don't believe me, maybe I'll prove it on the layout here in just a little bit. So there you have it. There is the 20K tank cars. Now, these are available at hobby shops now. If you pre-ordered them, you're probably enjoying them right now. If you didn't pre-order them, you may be up for a search. These typically go rather quickly. All right. Now, let's see about getting a close-up of one of the ones that we've got on the layout here. All right, so here is our GATX one, the first one that we talked about. And you can see there's a lot of nice detail. I'm going to zoom in on this guy just a little bit. Now, these models have all the Genesis detail that you're looking for. They're going to have metal etched walkways. You're going to have all of your plumbing, your brake plumbing. You're going to have your placards. You're going to have your cut levers and your air hoses. Great stuff. At this time, while we look at this beauty, I'm going to look and see what kind of questions you have. Union Pacific, you are absolutely correct. GATX does stand for General American Marks Corporation or Company or Tank as well. Jim, are they sold in singles or multi-packs? For this run, they're all just singles. So there's no multi-packs for these. They're just singles. Let's see what else we got. Jason, you are correct. PPG used to be the primary sponsor of the IndyCar Series back in the day, not that long ago. Yep, I remember that. If you've ever been to a NASCAR or any kind of race, you've probably seen PPG on the sides of the cars. They are very active in the racing world. Let's see what else we've got for questions. BN Green 1970 says, I see modern acid tank cars every day on the short line near my house. They are stenciled for sulfuric acid. I'm told they are going to and from a smelter in British Columbia. Let's see what else we've got. A couple of guys that got the Pittsburgh paint a little bit after, but I think Elko got that quickest. Glenn says Powerpuff Girls. I'm going to give you A for effort. That made me smile. Balco Steam wins that. All right, let's see what new comments we've got. Let's see. Willie is asking, what do those colored stripes mean on tank cars? Now, specifically, what stripes are you talking about? I don't have anything here modern, so you're not talking about the conspicuity stripes that were common after 2007. That might be what you're referring to. There's also some warning labels on there. Like this one here has an emergency contact number in case there's an accident. Fire has to know exactly what they're dealing with before they end up on the scene. Tank cars, do carry some hazardous material, so they go out of their way to put information on the cars, so that anybody that has to take care of a situation, if there's an unfortunate derailment, fire and rescue and all of them know how to be prepared. Charles wants to know, will these cars come out in N-scale in the future? Under the Athearn tooling, it's a possibility. But for right now, we're doing pretty good on N-scale projects. So I don't see those coming out anytime in the next year or so. Charlie says, looks good in all white. Yeah, they do. They show up really nice. I wanted to use the white one so you guys could see all the detail a little bit easier. Let's see what else we've got. Being Green wants to know, were these announced? Yes, I have the website open. Another window looking for the PDF. So these were announced back in January of 2023. If you go to the Athearn website, go to the announcements tab at the very top and look at the archive and look up January 2023. You'll see these listed. Now, the link isn't active just yet. That'll get activated tomorrow morning after the broadcast. But tomorrow, if you come back to this video and look at the description, you'll see a link for the PDF announcement. So January 23 is when we announced them. They just started shipping about a week ago. All right. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about these tank cars and maybe do a little bit of operations here on the layout. But right now, I've got something special for you. Talk a little bit about what I've been up to and what Athearn's going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and switch formats here. So as you know, I live in New Hampshire. However, I work in Illinois, and it's just easier for me to rent out here in Illinois and spend 90% of my time. But I was able to get back and not only visit with friends and family, but I got to do some work as well. Got to do some little bit of rail fanning when I was in New England. And neat little story. I'll try to make it short. My dad, who ironically was a pilot, got into trains growing up in Newton, Massachusetts. Now, anybody that knows the Newton, Massachusetts area probably recognizes this picture. This is the old former Boston and Maine, currently MBTA station that's in use on the Newton line. Now, not only did my dad have some influence seeing his first steam locomotives on this stretch of line, but he also met a really good friend named Bill Lowry, who kind of got him into trains a little bit, and in an indirect way got me started in my path in model railroading. So not too far from where this picture is taken, we get to go visit Mr. Lowry and his layout. And Mr. Lowry has been doing exactly what I tell you guys to do some good modeling. He's been doing some good modeling now for over 50 years, and I have a few pictures I wanted to share with you of his layout. Now, he's been working on this layout for 50 years now. So here we have Bill Lowry's layout. It's called the Helena and Williamsburg Railroad. And again, most of the structures are laser cut or scratch built. The track is code 70. It's all hand laid. He is a craftsman builder, and it's fun to think that back when he was probably 10 years old, along with my dad, growing up in Newton, Massachusetts in the 1960s, They were just starting to lay the groundwork of model railroading, and now Bill is an exceptional model railroader. So here we've got an recent, well, I won't say recent, this was a couple of years ago when Athearn delivered these GP9s for the Central Vermont. This locomotive is rolling by in this picture here. Again, most of this stuff is scratch built. Another close up, and this is one of the many towns that Bill has built. Now, I'm just amazed at the amount of building that he has done in the last 50 years. It's important to note, too, that he does love building structures, and he has a lot of structures that aren't even on the layout. Bill tends to like to build scenes and then change them up, just like a lot of us do on our model railroads. Now, here's a great little yard. Bill was saying this is kind of an homage to the New Haven. You can see there's some Boston and Maine in there. There's some New Haven. There's a little bit of everything. What Bill did was he built the layout kind of what we would call a proto-lance. It's not really based on a specific area other than New England. And he's modeling the 1950s into the 1960s. Basically, he does that because he's a big fan of steam. Then again, who isn't? And he likes the early diesels. And of course, he likes cabooses. So this is why he picked this era. Now, as far as his towns are named after family relatives, and a lot of the businesses are named after friends and family. Another great scene, and to me, this looks like anywhere in rural Vermont, rural New Hampshire. You've got the bridge going over the water area. You've got the old 1930s Art Deco style bridge for the automobiles. You can see some really nice automobiles in there. I see a Pontiac, a mid-50s Pontiac. Looks like a, let's see, I think that's a Buick. It's hard to say because the picture that I'm seeing is a lot smaller than the one that you're seeing. Anyways, this really sets the scene of a 1950s era New England. And man, I don't know about you, but I can almost smell fried clam strips. No, sorry, whole belly clams. Now, another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and before I move on, I want to thank Mr. Bill Lowry for inviting my dad and I to his layout. We spent many hours, and of course, the funny thing is my dad moved out of Newton in the mid 1960s. These guys hadn't talked in almost 70 years, and just so happened that Bill was interviewed by, I believe, a newspaper, and my dad got in touch with him with an email. And 70 years later, these guys still acted like best friends. It was a lot of fun to be there, and it was a lot of fun to see the creativity. Bill, if you're watching this, I want to thank you for A, letting us in to see your layout, and B, thank you for being a great Athearn supporter over the years. And C, indirectly, you may be responsible for my career path. So I want to thank you for that as well. All right. Now, what else is Athearn working on? Well, one of the things I want to let you guys know, if you didn't know already, if you've seen it on social media or a newsletter, we're going to be doing an open house and a meet and greet this coming Saturday, October 25th from 1 to 3 o'clock. That's Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to be meeting with the Naptown and White River Clubhouse, and we're just going to get together and talk trains, have a meet and greet, run some trains probably, and just have a good time. Now, myself is going to be there, as well as our lead Athearn service technician, Aaron Wagner. Aaron Wagner doesn't usually get to go to these events with me very often because he's pretty busy. In fact, this time of year is his busiest time of year, but he carved out some time for this Saturday. And so Aaron's going to be joining me. We're going to have a good time. I would love to see you there. And more importantly, talk about trains. If you got questions about what Athearn's working on, if you've got questions on when you're hoping your favorite locomotive or freight car is coming, I should have an idea as long as it's not too far out. Or if you just want to simply show me pictures of your layout and give me some ideas, I welcome it all. I'm really looking forward to this. Again, Saturday, October 25th, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to be there for a few hours. Really looking forward to it and having a good time with everybody involved. And then last but not least, I can't believe Trainfest is just around the corner. Now, if you're like me, Trainfest is one of the best times of the year. We love fall. November is National Model Railroad Month. It's cooler. We don't have to feel guilty about staying inside working on our layout. The lawn's not calling us. All those outdoor activities aren't calling us. We can work on our layouts. Better yet, fall is also the start of the train show season. And Train Fest is back once again. It's going to be November 1st and 2nd. Now, Athearn is going to be a part of this show. Myself and a program manager, Mark Williams, will be in attendance, so you can talk to either one of us. We had a lot of fun last year talking to a lot of you guys, and we always look forward to seeing our old friends show up as well as new friends. Now, on Saturday, November 1st, the show is from 9 to 5 p.m., and on Sunday, it's November 2nd, the show is from 9 to 4. Now, we're going to be in booth location 4013. So we've got a really good location. We're going to be right next to our friends at Soundtracks. So George and I will probably be on our best behavior, hopefully, but we're going to be right next door to Soundtracks. So the good question is, if you got a question about your latest Tsunami 2 equipped Athearn Genesis or your new Athearn locomotive with an Economy, and I can't figure it out or Mark can't figure it out, you can always talk to George over at Soundtracks. The guy is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to DCC. So I hope to see you guys at one of these events coming soon. Let's go ahead and answer some more questions. See if there's any other questions out there. Icon says, I've been going to Train Fest since '78 and really wish they would hold it somewhere other than downtown. You know what? Let them know. One of the best things you can do for a train show organizer or anybody that's working on a show is give them constructive criticism. There's a lot of people that may share that same opinion as you. So let them know. Let them know why you're not really in favor for the current location, but do it in a nice way. Constructive criticism goes a long ways. And who knows, maybe if they get enough good constructive criticism, things may change in your favor. Let's see what else we've got. Michael, thank you for the compliment. Now, if you haven't realized, I have been putting a lot of time and energy this past summer on the studio as well as new technology, trying to make things easier for you guys to see our products and just make it more interactive and more fun. In the next coming months, I'm hoping to delve into some more technology and we can do some more shows like this. Hey, who knows? Maybe we can even do an operating session sometime through a live stream. Let's see what else we've got. Glenn says, all this New England talk reminds me of the early years of Steamtown, USA. Yeah, Steamtown, USA, Bellows Falls, New Hampshire, first time. And then later, somebody will have to remind me. I was a small child when that happened, and now Scranton, PA. So Scranton, PA, it's not just known for a certain paper company, but it's really known for Steamtown. Really neat museum. If you've never been out there, I highly encourage you to go check it out. They've got some great stuff going on out there. Let's see what else we've got. Sid is giving us a railfan report saying Ohio Central is passing by my house. That's cool. Richie wants to know who's going to be at Train Fest this year. Well, I'm going to be there, so Richie, stop by. And if you haven't met my associate and the program manager, or what I like to call he who herds kittens, Mark Williams will be there. He makes sure that I'm doing my job and all the other guys are doing my job. Mark is a great guy to go to a show with. He's very engaging, and he's like me. He's crazy about model trains. Now, Mark actually does some N scale as well as some HO. So feel free to hit him up at the show, talk to him a little bit about some things. And also Mark can give you some reasons why we do what we do from a business aspect. So that's who's going to be there. Icon wants to know, Jim, I was looking at the Hobby Industry Coalition page and noticed neither Athearn nor Horizon are listed. Are you able to comment on that? My apologies if it's a sore subject. Not a sore subject at all. So from what I understand, and this is something that if you want, if you're going to be in Milwaukee, you can definitely ask Mark, because Mark's been working with this. And we are part of the coalition. Coalition actually started earlier this year, I believe around April, when the first set of tariffs came by. We are actively working, not just Athearn, but Horizon, because Horizon, while we do have some domestic manufacturing, a lot of our stuff comes from overseas, and not just China, but Thailand, Japan. It's a world market. So, yeah, we are part of the coalition. We're really hoping that our voices, along with all the other railroad manufacturer voices, can get to the appropriate people, and maybe we can make some exceptions, because we all know that model railroading can be an expensive hobby, just like a lot of hobbies. But with tariffs and things of that nature, it can make things a little bit difficult, especially when it comes to pricing. Now, I don't want to make this an overly political statement. I'm just going to give you the facts as they are. Right now, we do have to abide by those tariffs, and those tariffs could go up. Now, we're doing everything we can to be part of that coalition and hopefully help to bring a voice to the folks that need to hear it about seeing if there's some exemptions they could afford us. Let's see what else we've got here in questions. Jim, we missed you at the Rocky Mountain Show. Do you know if you'll be there at 2026? I can't guarantee it at this point. However, I am working on a budget and I'm working on a proposal. I really want to get back to Denver. Denver's such a cool show. It's a great show for many reasons. One, it's not really as big as Train Fest, certainly not as big as Amherst. However, John Gardner, who does the show, does such a great job of orchestrating what I consider one of the hardest things to do. And that show is growing every year. John is one of those types of guys that you can talk to him and offer suggestions, offer some criticism, and he's always open to it. In fact, he's implemented a lot of changes based on what he's gotten for feedback. So will I be there in 2026? I can tell you I really want to be there. I'm going to put the proposal out there and see if I'm going to be able to go this year. So cross your fingers. I want to go. It's been over a year since I was out there last. Let's see what else we got here. Dan, yeah. So Dan's wanting to know about the GP38-2s we announced in February of 2024. They were supposed to arrive this past June, but they didn't. I know a lot of guys get sick of it, and I see comments on Facebook. You're just saying tariffs as a stopgap measure, and it's just an excuse. Well, keep in mind that when the factories saw those tariffs, they stopped production. Now, if you know anything about factory production, when things stop, it's like trying to push a fully loaded coal car. It's a slow start till you get that car rolling again. And so for about 6 weeks, the plant was effectively shut down until we knew what direction we were going and how we were going to price things. Now that train is moving again. In fact, our factory overseas is doing a great job of getting things in production. Now, the current ETA I have on those, the last I heard from the factory, we're hoping to see those probably in the late winter, early spring of 2026. So not quite, but almost a year later than what we wanted. But unfortunately, that's the hand that we were dealt, as well as our factory. Let's see. A couple other updates on CBN's wanting to know where his Genesis GP7s are. The website still says out of stock. I have 2 BN ones with sound on pre-order, and I want to budget for them. I understand. I totally understand on the budget thing. So a couple of things there. The GP7s, last I remember, the GP7s, 9s, 18s that we announced, they were planning on coming in around December, late December. My hope is that we're going to have them on display at Amherst. Which means by the time they're at Amherst, they're only going to be about a week or so away from dealers. That's the last I heard. Now, that could change. ETAs are subject to change. Another thing I want to talk about, too, is there is some confusion on ETAs on the website. Now, over the last 6 weeks. Our web team, our purchasing team, and Mark, who you heard me talk about earlier, have been working diligently to work with the software integration and try to get the ETAs at a much better date. Now, this is an ongoing process. It certainly hasn't been easy. We're hoping that we're going to have that sealed up and done, and everything's going to be working well in the next coming weeks. It's working with some of the products, but not all the products yet. It's a work in progress. All right, let's see what else we've got. CJ with a great comment. Hey, Jim, I just got my Montana Rail Link F45, and I have to say you guys nailed it, and I love it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and our product development guys appreciate that. You know, our product development guys, they do a lot of the heavy lifting, and very rarely do they get any accolades or slaps on the back. They do a lot of hard work. Now, that's because they're stuck in a room somewhere doing all the research, doing all the paint chip samples, all the stuff that goes with it. Now, once in a while, like John is able to come with us to the Amherst Train Show, which I love it when John comes to the Amherst Show, because when somebody comes into the booth and wants to know what's new, instead of me losing my voice, I can just point them over to John, and John does a great job explaining everything that we're working on. So thank you for that comment, and our product developers, we really appreciate it as well, because again, they put in many hours, sometimes months, into these models, and we're doing it because we're modelers like you. Let's see, what else do we have? Drew wants to know, are you coming out with any new billboard ad box cars? Not anything on the horizon just yet. I got a few guys asking about the SD50s that we announced last July. Any updates on the SD50s? No new updates on that. So a couple of things to keep in mind. John is still working diligently on the Surfliners and California cars. We are trying to refine those so that they are as turnkey as possible, that when you get them, once he gets that project out of the way, he's got some other projects to work on, including the SD50. Not only are we working on the announcement or the run that we announced back in July, but we're also looking towards the next announcement. Heads up, Conrail guys, we heard you the last time, so keep that in mind. There's some more refinements that we're doing with the SD50s. Do I have a date for you at this time? I don't, unfortunately, but one of the best ways you can keep up to date on things like that is to follow the live feeds like we're doing now, or you can also sign up for our Athearn newsletter. If you haven't signed up for our Athearn newsletter, go to athearn.com, scroll to the bottom of the page. You'll see a box where it will allow you to enter your email address, and then every Friday, delivered to your digital email mailbox, you get a few words from me telling you what's going on at Athearn, what's in stock, what's open for pre-orders, and things of that nature. Got some more comments and questions. Great comment here from Canadian Locomotive Logistics. Just want to say thank you again for giving the live updates. It takes a lot of time and work. Thanks to Horizon Hobbies for getting parts out to me fast for my Loco Cab Cam production. You are welcome. I can't take credit for the parts. That would be Aaron, the guy that's going to join me this Saturday. That guy is always busy, always working on something, and he's great for getting parts to our customers. And I'm glad you're enjoying the live feeds. Again, it's something I've put a lot of work into, and I do it because I'm a model railroader like you, and I'm trying to think, what would I want to see? So maybe it may not be perfect. There's always going to be a few detractors, just like with anything. But for the most part, I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it, and it's only going to keep getting better from here on out. Let's see what else we've got, and then we're going to do a little bit of switching around with some stuff. Oh, let's see. Good question, Kevin. Hello, Jim. Some of us Canadians are waiting for the Canadian Heritage Unit. When are they landing in Canada? I can't tell you exactly when they're going to land in Canada. I can tell you that in the States, I was really hoping to have them on display at Train Fest. Right now, I still don't have the photograph samples, but that could change. We still got a few weeks before Train Fest. But it looks like we're going to see those about mid-December or so. So Canada, you might see them at the first of the year. And I'm just kind of giving you a nice long lead time just to kind of, just because shipping and things of that nature, especially that time of year, can be extended somewhat. Mr. Dave Reynolds, he says Amy, but it's David. Trust me, David is a fine gentleman. He is a fan of the Southern Railroads. I'm always glad to see David. He wants to know if you're going to Tennessee in 2026 NMRA meet. Again, I'm putting it in the budget. I'm going to send the proposal. I really want to go. We haven't been able to make the last few NMRA shows for various reasons, but this one, I think I can sneak this one in. And one, it's Tennessee. Who does not love Tennessee? Tennessee is a great state. In fact, I had vacation down there this past year and fell in love with everything about it. So I'm hoping to see you. And David, if you're going to the NMRA event, I certainly hope he comes to the Athearn booth. Keep informed by looking at our email newsletter and our website. Let's see what else. Terry with some good words on Aaron. Aaron is outstanding. He has helped me with a couple of issues. Thank you for letting Aaron know. Hopefully Aaron's watching the show. Aaron, that one's for you. Aaron is tirelessly working on repairs, warranty situations, replacement parts, things of that nature. Again, if you need replacement parts for your new loco, we try to support those locomotives and freight cars 5 years from the date of manufacture. And you can email us at athearnhelp@horizonhobby.com. That goes right to Aaron's inbox. Aaron goes ahead and does what he can for you. And keep in mind, too, everything that we're talking about on Train Tuesday, by the time they hit the Train Tuesday video, if not just a few days later, the exploded views for these models are available for download on the product pages of each model. So if you've got, like the model I've got over here, I'll pan over here a little bit. Maybe I'm missing some of the bearing caps. They do come out. Now, we do give you 2 extra in the model itself, but maybe you missed more. Well, you can go ahead and email us and get some replacement bearing caps. All right, well, let's do a little bit of running. We're getting a little bit long, so I wanted to do some running here for you. Last week we had some technical issues. We were on the road and we were also with some new equipment. I think we might have figured out the microphone thing, so we'll have a little bit of sound and some voiceover. So let's go ahead and get started with looking at some operations here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and unmute this. And we'll zoom out a little bit. Now I'm really digging the GP39-2 that we just announced. They just came in stock earlier this summer. I'll just do speed step 1 for now. Now keep in mind those 39-2s, they're going to have lighting features that they haven't had before. Those lighting features include the number boards. In some cases, not on my model, but in some cases, the classification lights will also function on function 25. The other thing I like about my BNSF unit, it's a former Santa Fe model. And so it's got you can see the access door is just starting to come into view here. Santa Fe in the mid-1980s, they rebuilt a lot of these 39-2s and made them GP39-2Us. And there's swing out number boards. There was quite a few refinements they did to these. Now, earlier I was telling you that these will navigate an 18-inch. So we're going to put this right in the middle of my layout. This is an 18-inch radius curve. May not look like it. Zoom in on this. Let's put that right there. And we'll speed this up just a tad bit. Let's get him in the picture. Just entering outside the camera. There he is. Speed step 5. This is an 18-inch radius curve. And you can see this car negotiates it without any issues. So even if you got a small layout like mine, an 18-inch radius, not a problem whatsoever. There you have it. We're going to switch camera views here and do a little bit of switching. If you guys have any questions during the live feed, feel free to ask and I'll try to answer those for you. Terry says the first locomotive he was ever allowed to board and ride was a Santa Fe GP39-2. That's pretty cool. Terry, was it a rebuilt or was it factory? Is it is still the original factory setup? That'd be interesting to know. Just fixing the angle here. That way you guys can see everything. That looks like a pretty good angle. All right, 1982, Terry says, so that's an original. Yeah, it is. All right, let's play some trains real quick. Real simple today. I'm going to pick up the Relco car. It's kind of on the storage track. A lot of folks were having questions as to what my layout is going to be, what I'm planning on doing with it. Actually, my layout is so small, it's just one spur. And let's see, we'll go ahead and make sure everything's lined up. Keep in mind those bearing caps are animated, so they're gonna roll. If you do lose one or two, we've included 2 in a poly bag for you, so you can replace them easily. So here comes our switcher. Peter, I see your question. I'm not going to put it online because I'm operating, but he wants to know about the SD70s. I don't, unfortunately, have a date for those SD70 Aces yet. I do know that you're not the only one that's asking about them. So we know that, we definitely know that there's some folks asking about them. Uh-oh, dirty track. It's live. This is what happens when you go live. I've been gone for a few weeks. Now, I have people ask me all the time, you know, why did you use your hand to get those connected? These are brand new factory, so they haven't even been run yet. So sometimes the couplers are a little stiff. If you want to replace them with your favorite brand of coupler, you can do it. And if you want to know how to do that, the exploded views are available online. Just go to the product page. Turn my number boards back on. All right, we're all set. A little bit of dirt on that track, just since I was gone for a couple of weeks. Dan's got a technology question I see on the screen. He's saying another manufacturer has come out with spinning fan blades, specifically for an EMD unit. What do we think about it? And is this something that Athearn might do in the future? The beautiful thing about model railroading is technology is always forcing us to go a little bit further. And while Athearn has had some firsts, there have been other great manufacturers out there that have also had some firsts. And after a while, depending on what the customer demand is, what the logistics is, sometimes we will add those features to our models just like other manufacturers will. It's kind of early to say what we're going to do about that. I can tell you that we're not going to do that overnight. That's going to be something that we're going to have to look into, and it may be something that we don't do at all. So let's see. I'm going to go grab me a coupler pick. Yeah, it's time for some track cleaning. Like I said, I just got back here. Oh, when did I get back? I got back on Sunday. I had just enough time to unpack and get to the office the next day. Yeah, Jason, you're right. It's always a case of supply over demand. That is definitely true. Michael wants to know, is there any chance that Athearn will ever partner up with a very popular metal coupler? We've actually looked into it. And I know this is going to sound a little ridiculous to some of you, but the cost in which it would take for us to use their product, which honestly is good. I use their products on a lot of my rolling stock. In fact, I think the green car in the corner has that brand of coupler. Problem is the cost to add those couplers to even our locomotives would be pretty high, and we're not sure most customers would be willing to stomach that price change. Now, for a while, Athearn was working on their own metal couplers. I don't know where that project is at this time. I just know that product development was working on it, at least for our locomotives. One thing I'll let you know, as an operator, as you can see, there we go. The double shelf couplers, they look great, and they are, pretty much scale. But as Terry just pointed out, they are difficult to disconnect. So if you're strictly into operations and you don't care about the scale aspect of it, you can just go ahead and use a regular coupler. I love the sound of these 39-2s. I love the turbo sound. They're just great locomotives. This one's a great running locomotive. If you think you missed out on one of these and you'd like to grab one, there may be a few left at your dealer. I do believe the BNSF ones went rather quickly. Randall's like me. He loves the BNSF 39-2s. I'm gonna cheat. Spotted that on a curve. There we go. Haven't hooked this one up to the proto throttle yet. Plan to. I'm going to attempt to pick up that older Norfolk Western. Technically, the tank cars and most of the cars I have on the layout right now are 1970s era. And I was going to get one of my Burlington Northern units out, but I love the 39-2 so much that I just had to run it. Willie wants to know, will there be any future crane sets? I like the legendary liveries. Thank you for the comment on the legendary liveries. I think we are planning on doing some cranes in the future, but I don't know what the date is on those. There we go. Haven't run anything down this track in about 2 weeks, so let's see what happens. Now, Genesis cars, like this tank car, are perfect for guys like me that have a small layout. You know, they just look good. My layout isn't as tall as some people's layouts, but it does allow me to appreciate the subtle details of these cars. All right, let's move the camera. And that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Train Tuesday. I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care. I hope to see you at one of the upcoming events. Until next time, take care, everyone.